Welcome back, guys. So we're finally getting another video out. I apologize that it's taken so long. We just had a lot of crazy stuff happen this summer that kind of ended up taking priority. A lot of forced projects with the house that I couldn't really put off, and it really ended up kind of burning up most of the summer. So a lot of these little projects that I wanted to make videos on, unfortunately, kind of got shoved to the back burner. Obviously, with the blaster, we were right in the thick of getting that thing back up and running and put together, and I have a ton of clips of little bits and pieces of actually building the thing. You guys have probably already seen the two videos that I did kind of by themselves, one with the headlights and one with the rear brake install. That being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to try to get some more videos out here fairly soon and try to get back into somewhat of a consistent schedule. Just kind of wanted to let you know why things had been so slow. Welcome back, everybody. Kind of back with a little bit of an update, as you can see. So after we fully stripped the frame down, I was just kind of going to sand this down a little bit, throw some primer on there and paint it. Ended up just deciding that I was already this far and kind of wanted to do it right. So took it to a shop, had them sandblast it, threw some primer on there, and then I went ahead and sprayed the entire frame with some actual automotive grade epoxy, and after threw a couple coats of that on there, went ahead and threw 2 coats of clear on it. So I think it's really going to hold up quite a bit better than just trying to rattle can it. Plus it came out looking way nicer, way shinier. I was able to get kind of the Yamaha blue color. The store did not have the exact Yamaha color code, so I ended up going with a GM color code that people were saying online was pretty much an identical match. So I think it turned out looking really good. Painted all 4 of the A-arms, and then also the rear swing arm and the axle carrier, painted those black. Still got to paint the wheels black and everything, but for now we're going to go ahead and start assembling this. I did go ahead and get all new bushing caps for the A-arms. Don't remember if I said that in the last video, but it wasn't worth cleaning those up, and the rubber seals were just a little too questionable, so I figured it's already in there, might as well freshen it all up. Now, the A-arms did not go back in nearly as easily as they came out, and that was mostly due to just the new bushings and the new dust caps. Took me probably half an hour of fighting with it, using punches to kind of line up the holes and get the bolts in, and I didn't really want to make you guys watch all that, so we'll go ahead and skip ahead. Shock is stuff back in here, got the A-arms mounted. Obviously this shock is not the cleanest, doesn't look the greatest. I thought kind of about getting a new set, but it's close to $2,000 for a good set, and at that point you might as well do the extended A-arms, might as well do the extended swing arm, and it just becomes a big expenditure that really don't need to do because there's nothing wrong with the shock. So maybe at a later date we'll revisit those. For now, kind of clean them up a little bit, they'll be fine. So the front end is very loosely assembled now. Still got to tighten everything up, but we are at least making progress. About to throw the brake cables on. Obviously, these old ones are very, very sad shape. Yeah, not doing well at all, but fortunately, did pick up 2 brand new ones. So we'll be throwing those on there. And as I was looking at it more, the upper brake cable, it's kind of a 2-piece deal. So this mounts right up in here. You got your lowers that go on there, upper that pulls up on it. And the upper cable was kind of messed up as well. So went ahead and ordered a new one of those too. So we'll go ahead and get that put together now. If any of you guys are doing this, I would definitely recommend just going ahead and redoing your cables because they're really pretty cheap. And it sure looks a lot better, and it's kind of nice to get them all done and over with, have everything all nice and fresh and ready to go. this cover back on. And we'll just leave it like that for now until I get the upper cable, which should be here in the mail a few more days anyway. Gonna screw this guy back down. Might have to take it out when we put that upper cable on, but might not. So we'll just go ahead and get it mounted in here for now. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and tighten up this A-arm, just because it's going to be kind of a pain to reach these bolts once you get the bumper on there. Let's go ahead and tighten those down. You can probably see I am missing a couple zerks, grease zerks. That is, I know about that. When I got this sandblasted, they were asking me, oh, do you want to protect those? And I'm like, well, there's already two. One on the steering stem there, and then one here on the A-arm that were already broken off. So I was like, go ahead and just paint over the rest of them. So go ahead and blast the rest of them. So I got to replace those two. And we got one on each side of the upper A-arm. We got four on the lower, and the steering stem. So those are all going to be replaced. Don't worry about that. Tighten this guy up, and we'll throw on our bumper. And whole front assembly, we're getting there, but went ahead and put it kind of on the ground, on jack stands, on a jack. The old folding table probably wasn't going to hold up to a whole lot more weight, so got kind of the wiring harness loosely ran in there. Went ahead and put the coil and spark plug wire back in there. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and try to stick the engine in here without hopefully absolutely cratering the paint on this frame. So we'll see how that goes. Front motor mount bolt is way too long, unless you're using the Nerf bars that I have, which I don't believe I'm going to put those back on. They're just really in the way. We kind of cleaned up the old FMF here a little bit. So it's not perfect. I mean, it is, couldn't tell you how old. I mean, this is a 99 blaster, so they might have put it on when it was new, or it might only be a couple years old. Well, I guess I've had it for about 10 years at this point, so it's got to be older than that. But either way, didn't polish up too terribly. Looks better than it did. So pretty hard to justify spending $500-600 on a new system when this one isn't exactly worn out. So. Good grief, can this bolt be long-winded enough? Now to the back of the bike. Let's see if we can get the rear bumper mounted. Hope that it works out okay, being as, you guys remember, the whole back portion of this frame was snapped off, and I'm by no means an expert welder, so the fitment is very questionable, I'm sure, but it should bolt up. We'll see if we can put the exhaust in here. Got the handlebars back on it. The factory clutch lever was pretty sad. The little adjuster screw was broken on it and just wobbled around quite a bit. So did go ahead and get a new one of those. These handlebars are the ones that I've had on this thing for a while. They're good bars, just Renthals, so nothing really wrong with them. No reason to swap them out or anything. So clean them up a little bit. These grips, don't worry, those are going to go away. We'll get new ones on there. Those are pretty hideous looking, obviously, not even the same color. So we'll get those swapped out too. As you can see, we have gotten quite a bit closer to getting this thing wrapped up. Yesterday I did get this upper brake cable in the mail, so now we have got brakes again. Working nice. I do eventually want to get disc brakes on the front of here still, but kind of just gotta wait to find the right kit on eBay. There's some stuff out there, but pretty expensive, so we'll just keep waiting for the right deal. You may notice that here on the back, we still do not have the rear swing arm mounted, and that's because I made a pretty significant mistake. So, kind of as I was showing, I was trying to replace the bearings in that rear swing arm, which I didn't really realize that it had those because the old ones were so rusted and seized that I thought it was just kind of a bushing that the bolt rode in. But no, there's supposed to be bearings in there, and you can see the guts came out, but the race is still in there. And I was using a 19mm socket with my 12-ton press to try to press those out. Anyway, the socket ended up going inside of the race, did not press the outer race out, but you can see it did get stuck in there, and that swing arm is absolutely bent. So, like I was saying earlier, I've been wanting to do an extended swing arm on this guy. Just wasn't really planning to quite yet, but that kind of bumped up those plans a little bit, so I do have an extended swing arm on the way now. Had to get a new chain to go along with that because that's going to be a few lengths longer. A lot of people are probably going to think this is ridiculous, but I did go with the +8 swing arm. I know most people do like a +2, +4, somewhere in there, but most of those people are probably still riding this on trails and don't want that long of a swing arm. However, I don't plan to ever, the most trails this thing is going to see is like a flat dirt road. So I'm not really worried about any jumps or anything like that. This is kind of more of a street machine, if you will, rather than any type of trail quad. So that's kind of what I'm going for anyway. Other than that, I did get a couple more parts in today. We got this super sweet gas cap from Vito's. It's all nice billet. Where's my other one? Yeah, it's just under here. Pretty ugly, so we'll get this can all cleaned up, get rid of that ugly looking cap. Then did go ahead and get one of these slip-on style filters. That is going to remove the need for this absolutely crusty, destroyed factory air piece, and then also this rubber boot that goes up there. We're gonna need some more airflow for this guy for sure, and not to mention, I've had a lot of issues getting this boot to really seal on this carb. If you can see on these factory carbs here, they do not give you a whole lot to grab onto, and I kept having issues with my boot popping off of there, so wasn't really getting filtered air anyway, so I think this will do a lot better. Did run my breather tubes, so those are kind of nice and tidied up. We'll get those mounted a little better once we get that swing arm in there. And then I think I was telling you guys about how we're gonna do shock covers on there because the red doesn't look terrible, but if you look close, there's some surface rust on there. Other than that, the shocks, for as old as they are, they look pretty good, but we'll put these covers on there. It'll make everything match. I got 3, one for the rear as well. And then the one other thing is new seat cover. And when I ordered this thing, I was like, man, this is like 70 bucks or so. I think it was actually closer to 80, but I was like, man, that seems like a lot because I got this one here for like 20 bucks. But you see that one? I mean, the color clearly does not match what I've got going on, but it's just a vinyl. This one is like an actual mesh fabric. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but this is, I don't even have it out of the package yet. And I could automatically tell you it is a far higher quality than what we had going on. So we're gonna start getting all this stuff put in. Did go ahead and get a new little bag of hardware because most of the stuff that I had holding on the fenders and everything else was all mismatched and looked like crap. A bunch of the little Phillips head pan screws were pretty much stripped out, so really shouldn't, I mean, you know, look at that. Really didn't want to put those back on anyway. So start getting this thing put back together. Shock covers are pretty decent. They're just a kind of a heavy canvas material with Velcro opening on the back. And those are just going to wrap around here. And Velcro in the back. I don't know if I want them like that, or if it's going to work better. Man, I don't know. Let's see how this other one looks. So you can do it like that with it reading down, or like this with it reading up, which I think looks a little better. It just seems like it, yeah, I think we're gonna go that route. Got our filter mounted up. I ended up using a little bit of cloth tape around the carb. It's just, there's such a small surface to bite onto, and you get the clamp too far forward and it rolls over the front and just pushes the whole filter off, and you get it too far back, it just squeezes it off the back either way. So kind of put that tape around there to give it a little more friction to grab onto, and seems to work. Seems like it'll hold on there. If not, we'll have to figure something else out. Got the cables, I think, all ran to the point where they're not binding up on fuel tank or anything. It kind of dips down on this one side, so I had to move the throttle cable over here to the right. The wires, make sure to get those all tied up where they're not getting burned up by the exhaust, because the thing gets pretty toasty. We're going to put on a little cover here for the fuel. Oops. Like I said, that cap's going away, so I'm going to toss that out. Wipe off this real good. Try to clean up the fuel tank somewhat. It's not perfect, but at least we do have the cover that is also nice and scratched. But that's where the graphics kit will come into play once we get that. So that's sitting there. You can go ahead and throw on shiny new cap. Thing looks so good. There we go. We'll get this guy bolted into place. Oh, I thought it would reach, but those are just a touch short. we're basically at the point now where we need to go ahead and throw on our rear fenders, get ready to do the seat and all that. If you guys have one of these blasters, or probably any other two-stroke four-wheeler from the 90s, 80s, whatever it may be, you know that they kind of got, as I showed you, you've got your airbox in there that has a filter that we didn't want to use anymore because we've got that simple clamp-on style that goes directly to the carb. And then you also had your oil injection, because from the factory these were not a premix. This one, that's long gone, it's all premixed. So it kind of just leaves you with a lot of all that plastic there that's hanging down in your frame. Looks absolutely ugly. This thing is filthy. And when you're deleting your airbox, you got a gaping hole there. You got to figure out a way to plug that. It's all just a bunch of useless material. So I cut all mine out, just left my mounting points on there. This is still going to be perfectly stable. It might look floppy now, but once it's all bolted in, it's going to be perfectly fine. Again, these plastics are pretty scuffed up. Got a few gouges in them, but they'll still work, especially once we get graphics on there. It's going to look fine. If you guys end up wanting to do this with your quad, whether it be a blaster or any others, this guy here, don't matter what brand it is, but one of these oscillating tools, had this cut out in a matter of probably 60 seconds. So works super well. And as you can see, these are just going to sit right here. Left all the mounting holes on there, so you still got 6 mounting points. And then you've got here where it will mount to these pieces off the frame. Same with the other side. So like I said, it's not going to be floppy now that you've lost that center piece at all. Your seat's still going to mount. It's going to slide into these tabs here, and then still has a place to clamp, not only on the plastic, but on your actual frame. So you're really not losing anything other than kind of cleaning everything up, getting rid of some excess plastic that would look pretty hideous. Now you're gonna be able to see the engine, nice air filter, everything's all nice and shiny. To me, it just looks a lot better than, I'll show you guys here, having just this useless bucket hanging down from there. If you are deleting your airbox and you've already deleted your oil injection and you want to keep this, you could seal it up, use it for some storage or something, I suppose. That would be the only other thing I could suggest leaving it there for, but to me, don't care about it, wanted it gone. So it has been right about a week since we last made any progress on the blaster, and unfortunately the reason behind that is just some of the parts that I ordered apparently got slow-boated up here to Alaska because they took a lot longer than I was anticipating, and then I had to take off for some work stuff. And anyway, I'm back, the parts are here, so we're gonna show you what we got. As you can see, the stator is uncovered, got the shifter lever off, and there is a good reason for that. Over here on the bench, we've got new stator cover. It's got a clear cover on it, looking pretty cool. Adds no performance whatsoever. Oh, they see high performance parts. Yeah, that's okay. Shaves a couple. I don't think that shaves any weight even because the factory cover's plastic. We got our new throttle assembly. New chain, of course, and new shifter. That thing looks a lot better than that factory one. I got a brake lever, new key, chain guide, and a whole new rear brake setup. Oh, and there's the big guy there. New swing arm. That is what I'm really excited for. And then I did end up getting a new rear brake disc because the one that I had taken off the machine was, well, it had some actual slag on it from when I re-welded the frame back there. So that, and it was a little bit bent. So I didn't really want to reuse it. I did get another brake line. This is the one that came with the rear brake assembly that I ordered, but I did go ahead and get another line. Reason for that is the swing arm. It's 8 inches longer than the factory one, so you got to extend the brake line too. Anyway, like I was saying, got this off here. So we're gonna go ahead and I think, yeah, I'm gonna need to put the sprocket on there, and then probably go ahead and route the chain and that chain guard. And then I can put the stator cover on there. There's some other stuff for it underneath there for the case saver, essentially. New gasket for it. And then I can throw the shifter on, but yeah, chain guard there. Have to get that on there. The factory one laying over here on the floor, you can see kind of chewed up on that old chain, but it basically is just plastic from the factory. So really all they did, looks like it's 3D printed and then used the aluminum on the outside. I will say I was a little skeptical with these billet parts just because couldn't find them on eBay or anything. So I wanted something that looked like the kind of just the cheap factory stuff. I hate to say it, but the factory stuff does not look very appealing at all. So I was skeptical on this stuff here. I really wasn't expecting a ton for the price because, I mean, it costed a few bucks, but it was nothing like some of the stuff I was seeing on eBay. I mean, they had a stator cover on there somebody was selling for well over $200, I think, a billet one. Didn't have a clear cover because that had some HP right there for sure. So yeah, this one I think was like 50 bucks or something like that, maybe a little more. It was fairly cheap. It is Chinese products, whatever. I mean, sue me, it's a Temu build now, I guess, but saved me quite a bit of money and I think it's gonna look pretty cool. So with this stator cover, it bolts on in place of the factory one, but the main difference is this case saver guard, whatever you want to call it, kind of bolts on there on an extra piece. It's got this piece that goes over the top where you can mount your wires to. Oh, and then, yeah, shifter looking pretty nice. I still got to tighten it down, but went ahead and just rolled the chain over there. This is like, we'll see how well it holds up. I mean, if for some reason it just flies apart, but man, this is really nice quality. The fitment is excellent, so very happy with it for the price. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of the lettering and everything on there, but whatever. I mean, I guess I'll rep the Temu parts. Also, got the new chain kind of rolled on there, just dangling down. I'll have to remove quite a few links. Put the swing arm on there just because for the roller there for the chain, had to get it on there. So swing arm looking real nice. Got it mounted up to the shock. Not half bad. So next we got our little throttle guy. Get that replaced on the old handlebars there. I went ahead and removed the factory throttle from the machine. So you can see you got your place for your throttle cable to come out of there. Pretty basic. One thing with this is you do have this wire coming out of here, and that is for your throttle override system, TORS. It basically just, if you over rev it or the throttle gets stuck open, it'll kill the spark. A lot of people delete that. I'm going to. It cleans up the carb a lot. You can see this aftermarket one does not have that. There's not even a spot for it. So kind of have to do it regardless of whether I want to or not at this point because, yeah, new one doesn't come with it. New one looks a lot better. We're putting the new one on. I actually think I'm going to get on there and buy some more right now. Kind of wanted to test, well, the first order I got, I was just wanting to kind of test and see how good their parts were. And then I'd only ordered a couple. I think I ordered that stator cover and I don't remember what else, but I ended up halfway through that one shipping to me, I ended up making another order and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to order anything else until I actually see how good these parts are. Now that they've shown up, seem like pretty solid stuff. I mean, it's all, as far as I can tell, nice billet aluminum. I can't imagine it's gonna break. The one thing that I know that they offer that might possibly break is going to be the Kickstarter. And from the factory, it's a nice piece of steel. So I'm not entirely sure how a billet one would hold up, but I think we're gonna try it. I'm also going to get the chain adjusters that'll go back here. Can't remember, oh yeah, they have this oil pump cover right here. They sell that. This one is plastic, very faded. That'll get this side looking nice. So I think I'm gonna order that too. Can't really think of what else they've got, but I'm sure I'll find something. One other thing that I'm looking for was, I did show you guys the headlight bracket. Well, I just lost one of the bushings there, but anyway, I did get the headlight bracket. Having a really hard time finding a factory blaster headlight. So what I ended up doing, found a pretty good deal on some Banshee headlights. So I think it'll look pretty cool having the dual headlight set up. And kind of what my thought is this bracket has one hole here, one hole here. So I think I'm going to take and put Banshee headlights on either end of this. Should look pretty good. If you guys are interested in seeing how I swapped in those Banshee headlights, I did make a standalone video on those just because it took a little bit of time, and again, didn't want to just completely run this video super long and also make it a little easier to search for that if people were looking to just do a headlight upgrade. So I'll have that linked up there as well. At this point in the video, I was getting ready to install the rear brake system that I had bought. Unfortunately, I had forgotten that this quad was a factory cable-driven rear brake and not a hydraulic brake. So I made a whole separate video with a conversion kit on how to swap that system over to hydraulic. I didn't want to include that in this video because it did take so long, so I did make a standalone video on it. I'll have it linked up here. Now what we're going to do is take this nice pile of premium billet parts, and we are going to throw them on this side of the motor, make everything look a lot less crusty. And just like that, the rest of our billet has spawned in. So there's the oil pump cover, super simple to do, literally just 4 bolts. There's this little plate here. I think if you are still using your oil pump, you can probably just remove that and put your tube that would come out and go to your oil tank. Obviously I don't have that, but yep, that's mounted on there. Clearly the oil cap, that is about as self-explanatory as it gets. And then our new kick lever. So that, just the bolt there, slides right off. There's an O-ring at the bottom, and then there's also a new spring and the little ball that, if you listen, maybe you can hear that click. That just kind of holds this in place there. Little detent that keeps it, I mean, it doesn't hold it by much, but enough to keep it from just flying out as you're riding. So we got that. We did get the rear tires mounted. These things look absolutely crazy on this thing. Sticks out just right. Nice. They're gonna have a ton of grip. Should be a lot better than the stock ones were. I kind of polished up these front hubs on the front here. I didn't paint them just because it's aluminum. I may paint them later, but again, like I was telling you guys before, we are going to do a front disc brake conversion on this thing at some point. And I didn't want to go, I don't know, I'm not really sure what I want to do with this yet because we're probably going to be changing it out pretty soon. But we also got the front tires mounted, so those look really good. And then we did get these covers just because it kind of, I don't know, makes this thing just look a little bit more unique. So yeah, guys, that is really just about it. Oh, I guess I did get these placards in. We did get those on there. Looks a lot cleaner with that. Other than that, though, this thing is just about ready to rip. I know this is a bit longer video, but we had a lot of stuff to pack in here and didn't really want to break it all into multiple videos. Most of the stuff is really pretty self-explanatory on how it goes on, so there wasn't a whole lot of point in going too in-depth on it, but really excited because next video we're going to be firing this thing up. We'll get a couple heat cycles on it, and then we'll begin the whole painstaking process of hoping that the jets are even remotely where they need to be. I don't see how that's going to end up working out. There's probably going to be a lot of tuning involved. It is a pretty small carburetor. Well, it's factory, and they typically recommend that you go to a bigger sized carburetor. So that's probably something we'll be looking at in the future, but I do want to go ahead and get this thing fired up, just see how it does. And then we'll probably start looking at some of the fueling upgrades a bit later. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.